Hello everyone, I am Stefania. Welcome to my channel. Before we get started, if you want to work with me, I am a trauma-informed manifestation coach and all the details are in the description box below. So let's get started. Today I want to talk about, of course, manifestation. And I want to dive deeper into whether or not you are manifesting from your wounded self or from your empowered self, and how to tell the difference between the two. So a lot of people think that manifestation is intention, right? So you set your intentions and then you have to think positive, or I don't know, wait for your manifestation to come to fruition, to materialize. But the essence of who they are remains the same, right? It's like you're manifesting to get something outside of you in the future with the hopes that this very thing will make you feel better about yourself or about your circumstances. It's like you're hoping for salvation in the future, which is the opposite of manifestation. So usually people who manifest from their wounded parts will try endless techniques because they're coming from a place of lack and need, right? Like, I need this thing right now. I need this person. I need for this to work out, or else I don't feel good. I feel anxious. I feel afraid. I feel like not in my true place. I feel dysregulated. Now we're talking about the nervous system. So when you manifest from a wounded place, you are disconnected from your true self. You are in survival. This is why you tend to either manifest the bare minimum, or you manifest what you desire, but you cannot keep it, or you end up pushing it away. You end up experiencing loss. Why? Because your nervous system is either operating from a place of fight or flight, fawning, freezing, or shut down. So you are spending most of your time in survival. Your natural state is manifestation, abundance. That is not something that you acquire outside of you. That's already who you are at the core. But growing up, you have inherited conditioning, beliefs, behaviors based on the data that your nervous system has accumulated from 0 to 7 years old. This data basically has been what helps you judge what is safe and what is unsafe. The nervous system's main goal is to keep you alive, safe, and connected to your family of origin, right? So if you have experienced trauma with receiving as a young child, it is very most likely that you are still carrying these stored emotional imprints in your body, which are making it very challenging for you to receive good things. So what ends up happening is that you're disconnected from your true self, right? Your abundant identity, your oneness with source, which is pure consciousness. And now you have this belief that you are your trauma. Now you have this belief that you have to earn good things. You have to work hard to receive good things. And that's why you're going through a series of endless techniques to try and get those good things outside of you. Because you believe that once you'll receive those things, it'll give you the validation that you need to feel good about yourself. So there's a disconnect. So that's when you know whether or not you're manifesting from your wounded parts, is that one, you only manifest the bare minimum, so little things. Two, if you end up receiving your manifestation, you will lose it. You will experience loss, you will push it away, you're not going to be able to keep it, right? And you're not doing anything wrong. That's literally just how your body that's a behavior or beliefs that your body has inherited to protect you, because it doesn't feel safe with good things. It does not feel safe with ease, flow, abundance. Why? Because you've probably encountered various experiences that told your body, your nervous system, that those good things will not last. Let me give you a few examples of trauma with receiving. If as a young child, you didn't have boundaries, you didn't have a say in what you wanted or didn't want to receive. For example, you've received criticism, abuse. You couldn't say no, right? So not having boundaries, not being able to say a safe no, makes it very difficult to say a safe yes. You might have received good things and then made a mistake with it. And that doesn't have to be during childhood. It could be throughout adulthood. So you've received, for example, a large amount of money and then you spent it. You made a mistake. So now it is in your nervous system, the data, the memory, that if you receive something, you will make a mistake. And usually if you haven't completed that loop, that stress response, right, which caused the emotional trauma, you will associate making mistakes with feeling shame. And feeling shame to a nervous system that is in survival is very uncomfortable. So you associate receiving good things with shame. You might have also experienced receiving with conditions. You have to work really hard to earn, to receive something good, praise, love, whatever the case is, gifts, things that should be free, things that should not be earned, things that are literally your birthright. And you might have also experienced, of course, the classic one, receiving something and then experiencing grief, loss. So then your body associates receiving something good with automatically having to experience heartbreak or pain. So when you jump into the world of manifestation, you're excited, right? Because you see all of those success stories and it's possible to manifest your dream life. And here you have to just think good, positive thoughts, and it's not working out for you. It's not because you suck at manifestation. It's because you're neglecting the somatic aspect. You're neglecting your body, and you're not to blame, because people who talk about that in the manifesting world are very, very rare. Okay, so neuroscience has proven that your brain, your mind communicates 20% information down to your nervous system, to your body, and your body communicates 80% information to your brain. So when you try to manifest your way to abundance with only visualization, affirmations, mind stuff, there's 80% of you who might not be on board. Your nervous system might be like, we're not doing this because that feels very threatening and I'm just trying to protect you. So once you become aware of that, you can first heal your relationship to your body, okay? And like I've explained briefly before, what causes trauma, which is an emotional or energetic imprint stored in the body, is an incomplete stress response. So trigger happens, you move from safety to survival, okay? Fight or flight, fawn, freeze, shut down, and you never make it back to the point of safety, regulation. So what happens is your body will store that energy. A lot of people say you have to release. Yeah, but before you can release, you have to integrate, okay? You have to hold space for that emotion to exist without shame, without judgment, without pressure. Okay, you don't want to overwhelm the nervous system. You want to befriend it. You want to build a relationship with your body. Learn how to communicate with your body. Learn how to create safety in your body. So you don't have to go back to specific events that caused those triggers and those incomplete stress response, but you can connect to those emotions that you have felt in the past. Why? Because if you don't, you will continue to manifest from the identity of the person who keeps experiencing hurt. You will continue to identify with the trauma and with what happened to you. And when you manifest from your true self, your true identity, you cannot do so by staying aware of the past, especially if it's a hurtful one. Because in the quantum world, there is no such thing as past and future. There is only now. So if you're keeping all of those imprints alive in your body or dormant, they will have they will impact your manifestation. They will impact your manifestation because you will continue to revisit them. You will continue to keep them in your energetic field. And if you identify as the one who has constantly been abandoned, who bad things always happen to, who always gets hurt, who never gets chosen, who's unlucky, guess what? That's exactly what you are going to experience right now. So, once you have taken the time to sit with those feelings, you can decide how you want to make peace with those parts of you. You can choose a new past, okay? You can select a new past. What I mean by that is there are millions of versions of you. And they all have a different past, they all have a different present, they all have a different future. Whatever you can imagine to be true in your mind exists, okay? This is your world. Your imagination is your truth. Your 3D world is your illusion. Your 3D world will always reflect what you believe to be true. Once you have given presence to those emotional imprints, because that's what they need presence, not neglect, you can decide. You can rewrite your past by selecting a new one. So instead of having the narrative of I've always been abandoned, you can literally switch it and say I've always been loved. You might not believe it at first, but keep affirming that. And it is true. You have always been loved. You were born into a world where there is only love. You are love. Okay, so I have always been loved. That automatically changes the whole script of your life, okay? Because now you don't have the excuse of, well, I've always been abandoned and therefore I need to experience abandonment again because I need to be proven right. I need my reality now to reflect what I think about myself, which is that I'm unlovable. No, you switch it. I've always been loved. I am loved right now. I am love. I only experience love. Okay? You can do that, revise the past, change it completely. Or what you can do is not necessarily change the narrative, but instead of saying I've always been abandoned, say everything about what I've experienced up until now has always been perfect. Saying that it always has been perfect is the ultimate cheating code to forgiveness. Forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. And that eliminates resentment. And when you no longer carry the burden of resentment, you are embodying love fully. Fully. So, like I've said before, I'm not trying to bypass what you've experienced. I think it is important to approach manifestation from a trauma-informed space where you can acknowledge your body. Because even if you are pure consciousness, even if you are one with source, you are still having a human experience. You are whole, okay? You are mind, body, and spirit. So we want to acknowledge and validate that. But then you cannot continue to identify as a victim. You cannot continue to identify as the one who's always been hurt. You cannot continue to identify as the one who will never be chosen. You just cannot manifest from that place. That's manifesting from your wounded parts and trying to find the right technique to receive something outside of you in the future to validate your worth is not going to bring you a long-lasting, consistent manifestation. This is only a band-aid, and it is a temporary one, and then you'll be back to square one. So once that is done, we can go back to remembering your true essence, your true identity. You are abundance, okay? You are already abundance. Anything that you can dream of, feel, wish for, visualize, fantasize about, you are experiencing it right now. You are all, okay? The only reason why you haven't experienced it in your 3D world is because you are resisting your true nature. You either have trauma that tells you otherwise, you either have been conditioned to believe that abundance is something outside of you, that you're separate from it. You're either worshiping, again, something or someone outside of you, making it difficult for you to remember your true nature, or you are still operating from the belief that you are not worthy of abundance, that you are not worthy of you. Manifesting from your true identity means that you remember yourself as the one who has it all, the one who is all. You are that powerful. You are that powerful. Every word that you speak is an affirmation. And because you are one with Source, God, you will always be right. So manifestation is not about intention. It's about being the one. How do you become the one that good things always happen to? Stop getting in your own fucking way. Start affirming that you are just that. Because what you affirm is true to you, and what is true to you becomes your identity. And your identity is what manifests, not intention. And your identity will be reflected back to you. What you think of you will always be reflected back to you. This is your world. You decide what role you are playing, and you are the main character. You have to put yourself on the pedestal. That's another thing. How do you know if you are manifesting from your wounded parts? If you're putting someone on a freaking pedestal outside of you, and your whole world revolves around how to be with that person or how to get back with that person or how to... That's your wounded self, babe. That is your wounded self. So I'm not saying you cannot have a desire to be with someone, but you have to use 80% of your manifestation to build that self-concept, and the other 20 for your desire. And that means that you have to make it a practice, a daily commitment. Okay? You wake up, you affirm. You start by you. I am the best. I am the luckiest person on earth. I am a miracle magnet. I am love. I am perfection. And so on. Whatever you feel inspired by. Then you can start affirming for your desires, but it always has to start with you. Manifestation is literally, it is your true nature. Up until now, your whole life, you have manifested. And I'm not going to say as a child who, you were a literal blank canvas. I'm not going to say, oh, you manifested that as an infant. Like, you absorbed your parents' nervous system, their own beliefs and conditioning from age 0 to 7. And then you either manifested your circumstances or you became the identity to whom these things would happen to. Okay? And this is not to shame, blame, judge. We're literally cracking universal codes here. We're cracking universal codes. And it's not about, well, nothing bad can happen to you, or I'm not saying you're responsible for bad things happening to you, but even when those things happen, can you remain the person who is all? Manifesting means that you no longer react to the outside world because you are anchored in the knowing that this is the truth. This is the truth. And everything else has to bend to your truth. So always, and I mean always, think in your favor. Always think in your favor. And if you have spent most of your life in survival, in dysregulation, it is important to be gentle with yourself. Because you're going to have to slowly increase your receptive capacity. And you might want to start by manifesting things that will not trigger too much resistance from your ego or your nervous system. Because then you're not going to believe what you're saying. And you might give up when you feel like it's not happening. Always remember that it's always happening. It has already happened. It has already happened. The trick is to come back to your body. Every time you feel like you're in there, you have to redescend into your body. Descend that energy back into your body. There is only now. There is only now. So decide who you're being now. And if you need my help, all the details are in the description box. I hope that this was helpful. I know that it can feel like a lot of information, but know that you are not alone. You are not alone. And if anyone has told you that you should do it on your own, I beg to differ. As humans, we need connection, we need support, we need each other. So do not be afraid to reach out if ever you need my support. Until next time.